Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Silicon Slope Show. My name is Clint Betts. We have the great Garrett Clark here. Garrett, introduce who our guest is.
Vess Pearson, co-founder of Aptive, and second time in the studio. Appreciate your patience.
Yeah. Did you guys find out, did Putin do this to us last time?
Yeah, I remember that. Like, we had you in here, and something was happening with our streaming, and we were told that it was because a Vladimir Putin interview had come out.
Yeah.
Turns out that was completely false. I think it was just a screw up on our end.
Well, it could have been.
I want to go with Russian interference. I mean, that's been a headline over the years.
Let's blame Putin.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, it was Putin's fault. He didn't want to hear from you, man.
Yeah.
And you know what? We're not going to let him silence you.
I totally get it. Thank you for giving me a voice.
We're not going to allow Putin, a Russian dictator, to silence you.
No. We launched a drone from here, and it was locked in on Russia. It fell out of the sky over Salem, but we did try to get retribution.
We launched a firecracker, is what you just described. That's what you just described.
We're new to international war, but at least we were defending our honor.
Hey, who's today's show brought to you by? I don't have one of those sheets, so I'm flying blind here.
The David Eccles School of Business.
Oh, David Eccles School of Business, Master's of Business Creation Program?
You know it.
Watch this. I have the whole script memorized. I don't. You better read it.
The Master's of Business Creation Program is an accelerator packaged as a master's degree.
Having the ability to do this program online is amazing.
Whether they're just starting a business or a little bit further along, there are so many people out there that could benefit.
Yes, so we've had a couple of guests over the years to show that this program has staying power and is moving quick as CEOs already. So I really wish this was around when I was a student there, but you get to build your business and go to school at the same time. It's fantastic. And it's Masters of Business Creation at eccles.utah.edu/MBC.
Very good. I think that's your first ad read.
Yeah.
You actually did really well.
Thanks.
Congratulations. Hey, tell us what's going on, man.
Oh, busy as always. We were chatting before and talking about how we'd maybe talk about some current events, and the only current events I can think of right now are soccer games, dance recitals, a little bit of church, and that type of stuff.
You're living a good life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The more insulated you can be from what's happening in the world, the better. Did you see this bridge thing happen?
I did see that a very large boat ran into a very large bridge in Baltimore.
Yeah. Do we have any updates there, Garrett? I know you've been following it very closely, and you've been on the scene, actually. You just flew back. So
on the firecracker drone. I don't have any updates on that. I think it was lucky when it happened and how it happened, and they had at least a little bit
Have they ruled out terrorism?
I believe so, yeah.
Oh,
I think it was an engine failure, and just to go, like, that whole bridge collapsed on that boat, barely even phased it. Those things are big, 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 big. It's going to screw up a lot of things. I think the president wants the federal government to pay for it. That sounds about right, but that might cause a little bit of inflation issues.
You know what? Who cares at this point? I say, like,
keep
pedal
it rolling.
on the gas, throw all the federal government money at anything. Who cares? We put it at the weirdest stuff. Why not have it build a bridge? I have no problem with it.
But imagine, you're a shipping executive, or you're somewhere up or down that supply chain, and you wake up and you're like, this has been a crappy 4 years, but I think we're righting the ship. Oh, wait, that ship just smashed into that bridge. Here we go again.
You know what I read, and I think this is true, due to like old-time maritime law, the actual people who are responsible for that ship being destroyed and the contents of the ship are the people who own the contents, not the ship owner or the shipping company.
I love old maritime law. I think you're right.
And by the way, who do you go to challenge that? The Maritime Law Board?
Yeah. That's 7 bells. 8 bells past the hour.
So the people who are responsible for at least the contents of the ship, I don't know if they're responsible for the bridge. That would be wild. Maritime laws, like anything that happens on a ship that has any of your crap is your fault. Even if they burnt a bridge, it's your fault.
Yeah.
Screw you.
Yeah.
Maritime law is way cool. This is like put together by pirates. It sounds like it was put together by like the people who ran the ship.
Yeah. There's probably going to be some pirate action in that bay, I would assume, at some point. Maritime law.
Well, that's awful. Have they? Yeah, that's an awful story.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse though. Could have been a lot worse.
Let's go to a good story where Krispy Kreme donuts are now about to be served at McDonald's nationwide. The two best things are combining. Finally, actually, I know everybody's been calling for this for years.
Yeah.
I know you have.
Have you ever eaten McDonald's and Krispy Kreme in the same hour?
In the same hour? No.
I have.
Really?
You didn't even need to say that. We could just take one look at you and know you did that.
I didn't always look like this. But have you ever gotten Krispy Kreme donuts for your kids' soccer games?
No, but my first time eating a Krispy Kreme donut was on University Parkway, not that far from here, around the
Same.
year 2003-ish, my first year in Provo-Orem area.
We're talking about the one right across from UVU?
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Had never had one prior.
Yeah, I've been there a lot.
Yeah.
I have been guilty of going there and getting a box and eating the entire box.
So
And you're still alive.
actual gluttony.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a glutton.
Heaven forbid I ate one Big Mac and one Krispy Kreme. Meanwhile, you ate 12 Krispy Kremes.
Yeah, I'm a glutton. I wasn't saying that I'm a good person.
You mentioned your normal Rockwell life right now, right? No bridges, no calamities. As you know, a busy executive with a growing company, we were talking with Jonathan Johnson yesterday about work life. What are your opinions on that?
I have a really tough time with the idea of balance. I don't believe in it, especially when you're after something really, really big. I go for more of a balanced lifetime. So, early in my career, and even up until a few years ago, I worked all the time. Woke up, worked late into the evening. When I wasn't working, it was still in my mind. But that's kind of what it took, and our family was on board with that. I'm now in a season of life, and I've built a team where some of that time can now shift to other things. And so trying to put equal amounts of time into things, though, I don't think works.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people know that. Just real quick, Garrett, I'm sure a lot of people know this, but it would be useful, actually, for you to tell people what Aptive is and what you're doing.
Yes. So
I don't think we got that far.
Yes.
Sorry, we got lost in the Krispy Kreme.
It's a good subject. So Aptive, we are a national pest control chain. We're in 38 states across the U.S. Have at our peak between salespeople and service people and corporate people around 3,500-ish to 4,000 employees. And we are in our 9th year.
Yeah. And I think I've had a few of your folks knock the door of my house.
It's likely. I think maybe we knock, 15-ish million knocks a year.
Really, that many?
Uh-huh.
And they were lucky my wife answered because she hates bugs. And
Garrett doesn't.
but when I answer, I love to grill these kids.
Good.
And they're tough.
Good.
And they have good manners. And win, lose, or draw, like I walk away and want to compliment them because they're
Awesome.
doing this for 3-4 months, right?
Yeah, 3-4 months. Trying to go and do good things after, whether it's pay for school or start a business or get into real estate. I remember, early when I was knocking, I think my first or second year, and this person was super unkind to me. And I thought, what a weird thing to be mad at, that someone that is 22 years old is out trying to offer a legitimate service that does a good thing so that they can go and do good things, and you're mad about that.
Yeah.
It's just really odd to me.
Yeah.
How do you train people for somebody like Garrett? It's like there are going to be guys who open the door. They got Big Mac in one hand. They got the Krispy Kreme in the other. And
Sloppy.
And they're going to grill you. You said that you grill them. What does that mean?
In a nice way. I want to know what the margins are, how much they get paid. A lot of it for.
Are they married?
that one was
Where'd
like,
you grow up? Where were you born?
is this going to kill bumblebees? And is this going to kill like good things, right?
Li-
And they did well.
Listen, Garrett looks tough, but he's no match for the top salespeople.
I was
They'll mow
not.
him. They'll mow him right down.
How do you train your salespeople? Like, what kind of process does that go through, and how do you vet who sells for you?
You know, like sales is a really, really challenging job. To wake up every single day and to be at zero and to be, essentially working for free until you make a sale is mentally challenging. That's why it's awesome. We found that people that have been leaders, people that are competitive, tend to do really, really well. And yeah, we've been in the space for 18 years. And so our training is very, very comprehensive. What you say matters, but how you say and what your body is doing as you say it matters the most. So we have a big emphasis on, nonverbal communication, paraverbal communication. And then we've invested heavily into technology that gives the salespeople the ability to learn, but to also, communicate with the customer in a really effective and dynamic way.
Yeah. I think, like the competitive side and the eager beaver side, having doorbell cameras and garage cameras all over the place is a game changer. I've never sold door to door, but I would assume that you can now not say, I don't remember saying that.
It's an absolute awesome thing. I think that elevates the space. It brings accountability, and you want to ensure that people set proper expectations. Number one, because that's right for a customer, but from a business standpoint, you go add a bunch of customers that don't actually want to be your customer, and then therefore churn out. You don't have a real business. The key to our business is keeping the customers that we have so that we don't have to go and replace them every single year, because if you're constantly increasing your commission expense, business is really really tough.
Yeah.
How'd you get started?
My brother moved to Utah. He was 18 years old, and he said, I'm going to go sell pest control. And he grabbed my computer and immediately started looking at BMWs because he was going to go, make all this money. And I said, you're an idiot, but whatever, go do it. I'm going to stay and take a spring class, Math 119, and you can go sell pest control. And I'm going to work at the ASB building. I think making $9-ish per hour. And then every day I would call him. I'd be like, how are you doing? He's like, I'm doing awesome. I sold 4, I sold 5. I'm like, well, how much did you make? Pay plans were a little less then, but he's like, I made $600 today. And I'm like, I made 64, I think. And then the day he got me, I call him and I'm like, hey, how did your day go? And he's like, it was terrible. I'm like, oh, finally, the luck is over. I told you, Big Brother's right. I'm like, well, how many did you sell? And he's like, I sold 2. How much did you make? I made $250. And that was the great awakening for me. And I dropped out of my Math 119 class.
It's a hard class.
I got to be in it when I took it the next semester. Drove to Corona, California, where I actually grew up. And that started my career in the space.
So you guys couldn't have gotten to this level over this many years without a good team and a team that can scale and a good tech platform. I think most people might associate you guys with awesome sales folks, but talk to the team that surrounds that and that grows that.
Yeah. I mean, when you have put on over 1 million customers, you're approaching $500 million in revenue. It takes more than a sales team, for sure. The sales team has been our lifeblood, but if we've done anything right the last several years, we've built an amazing leadership team. And so our COO, ran a $3 billion business. Our CFO was CFO of a publicly traded $3 billion business. My CTO came from Entrada, an amazing business. My human resources officer came from Republic, a massive trash business. My chief legal officer was near the top at Vivint and is, best in class. My chief strategy officer came from ServiceMaster, which is our biggest competitor. So I feel like I have the best team out there, in addition to our presidents of sales who have been with me for forever. And below them is just an amazing, team of professionals.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
How did you recruit? How did you think about recruiting?
Good question. I like to believe that, we've built a good culture that people knew about. Luckily, when these individuals asked around, people that, knew me, they said nice enough things, but people see that we have a future. We have the third most residential customers in the United States, and we have energy to get to number 1 or 2. And so I think that a combination of some good reputation and vision has attracted people that I'm in awe, want to work with me. Sometimes I sit in my executive meetings and I have just this little chuckle inside of me to think, you guys are all looking to me, but really I kind of feel like the least among all of you, and am, professionally speaking, from an experience standpoint, and it's pretty remarkable.
That was the question I wanted to ask. There's not a lot of folks that have been able to have your experience of hiring a team more senior in age and experience.
Yeah.
It takes a level of confidence to do that, I would assume.
Yeah. I have a CEO coach that is incredible. Many of his clients are like Fortune 100 clients, and then he has me. And so he's really, really helped me in how to make sure that, I belong at that table and have the right decorum and just know how to act and push these individuals that have had such, incredible careers.
Yeah. Do you ever find that this team, when they look to you and you don't have the answer quick enough, they might jump in and say, here's an example of what we're kind of referring to?
I have one leader in particular that is always using acronyms. And so like, I've got my phone ready, like, okay, what does that mean again? All right, I'm there. I'm with you. One thing I do have that really helps me is I feel like I know our space, like I am a world expert, that very few people in the world know more about our space than me. And they understand that when it comes to this industry, I can bring a lot of value. And so I think that somewhat helps give me a lot of a little more confidence.
Yeah.
How do you think about territories and how to decide territories? How to decide which salespeople go to which territories? All that type of stuff.
So in the early days, it was very unsophisticated. It was, they went there and they did pretty good, so we can go there too. It has evolved into something way more sophisticated, where we've developed technology called Jade Pins, where we've effectively scored every neighborhood in America based upon, different metrics, whether it's disposable income, home values, debt to income ratios, credit scores. Did you recently refinance? So we score all of the homes. From there we understand, well, what are wages? What are we able to price? And we then kind of rank all of the areas really at a contribution margin level. So what is going to produce the highest contribution margin? And we send people there first. And that's how we determine where we're going to go in the areas that we already have. But we do the same thing with future markets. And so really it's a massive data and math exercise. Whereas before it was, they did pretty well there, so let's go there too.
Yeah. There's got to be a couple of hot spots or states that you can kind of hang your coat on, right? Meaning there all of those fancy metrics, but plus there's a lot of bugs.
Well, yeah, I mean, places where there's a lot of people is actually what really is interesting to us. But yeah, the Southeast is a great spot when it comes to pest control, but believe it or not, so is Ohio, and so is Michigan, and so is the Northeast. And so I think the principle there is that when you have a great product and you have a sales force or a marketing plan behind it, you kind of thrive, wherever.
Yeah.
What have you learned about this country being in all of these places? And, you get online right now and we're all divided and we all hate each other. We're on the verge of civil war. That's what it feels like. But is that your experience?
So we have a lot more in common than what the media wants us to believe. I'm not entirely sure why, other than power, I guess, the media wants us to believe that we really hate each other. I mean, we all meet people that think very differently than us all the time, and we're not throwing punches, we're not name calling. We actually typically get along quite well, and I'm saying that's most Americans can just meet people, have a conversation, but the media wants you to believe that is not the case. And so the first thing that I've learned, having employees all across the nation, meeting people all across the nation, is that people are good and they want to be good. And we ought not to believe that we all hate each other as much as the media wants us to. In my core, I don't believe that is the case. The second thing I have learned is that high regulatory climates are not helpful to anyone in my view. There are certain states, and I won't list them.
California.
Okay, I'll list one. I grew up there. I don't live there anymore, but there are certain states where business is really, really challenging, and legislators believe that they are serving the public by all of these rules and regulations, but really they're just hurting commerce, they're hurting economy, they're eliminating jobs, they're actually even hurting consumers. There are states where that we've had to deal with from time to time where not a single consumer has said a single word, yet we're having to spend tremendous money defending ourselves over this or that. And so, regulators are very different.
Yeah, depending
Depending
on the
upon
state,
where you go.
depending on the that part is fascinating. I wonder, obviously you're all about pest control, but you've built this infrastructure now that I imagine you could do more than that, given the infrastructure you have.
We're absolutely a platform. And so when you have built out finance and strategy and HR and technology and all of the necessary business units in a business, you can start to acquire, because those business units transcend different in various industries. Now, for us, there's enough white space in doing what we do that we don't need to go try to be everything to everyone. But yeah, certainly acquisitions and getting outside of just general pest control can be a reality.
Yeah. What about condos and apartments? Can you sell individually to those, or do you sell to the manager?
So we're not doing commercial work currently. That's definitely a space that we'll go into. What we've really been good at is not getting away from what we know we've been great at. That said, as your business scales and grows and you're generating more EBITDA and you have the right team, that's what gives you opportunity to say, okay, hey, we're doing pretty well on this. The systems, the processes, the people are built. Yeah, let's go tackle commercial now. Let's get into condos. Let's try to land large HOA accounts. Let's get all of the Jiffy Lubes in America. So that's coming.
Very cool. I have a couple of soccer related questions.
Okay.
Soccer's your sport, right?
Well, so basketball and baseball and golf are my sport, but soccer is my son's sport. He's really, really good. And so he plays in this academy called Utah United. And now soccer is also my sport.
Okay.
So, yes.
I'm glad you mentioned baseball, because I do want to talk baseball. Do you think the United States will win a World Cup in your lifetime?
So here's the problem with soccer in the United States. We actually have too many people playing it. And the interesting thing about it is that what I've learned about soccer is that the very best players need to play together. Because if you don't have the best players playing together, you can't hold even an effective training. And so when you go overseas, and Liverpool and Arsenal and Man City and all of these clubs, they are grabbing literally the best players and they're putting them in the same environment, and they're paying them, or not necessarily writing them a check, but the kids don't pay. They're on scholarship, and they grow up playing with only the best players, and you get a lot better that way. In the United States, we don't have anything like that. So all of the best players are spread all across all of these different clubs and academies and MLS Next. And so for that reason, it's going to be very, very challenging for the U.S. to ever catch up. It's not because we don't have the athletes, watch a basketball game, watch a football game. But soccer is such a skill sport that if you're not training with the best people, doesn't matter how fast you run or how high you jump or how broad your shoulders are, you're just not going to be good. So the answer is maybe, but we got to change systematically what we're doing.
That's the best answer I've ever heard to that question, and I've asked that question a ton. Also, the first time that the person's gone that angle. Oh, I love it.
Thank you.
Stated.
The women are good, right?
The women are good. Yes.
Is that what makes the women good?
I don't know that the same energy overseas has been put into the development, into the development of their players as has the men's program.
But there's also a lot less, to your thesis, a lot less women soccer players than.
Absolutely. And I would think that although there are so many soccer leagues in the world, you'd think it would be easier to play pro in soccer than other sports, but I'm not sure that's right, because like 4 billion people are playing soccer, and I don't think 1 billion people are even playing basketball.
Yeah, and football's way less. Like football is very much a United States thing.
Yeah, we think that the Super Bowl is like a big deal.
Yeah.
On the world stage, it is not. 5 times the people watch the Champions League's final than the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's cool here in the U.S. The world's like, we don't care.
Yeah. Tomorrow's opening day for baseball, so we might as well get our predictions out. I'll go first and give you time to think through things.
Okay.
The AL, I've got the Twins, Orioles, and the 27-time world champion New York Yankees. Cubs, Dodgers, Braves, Reds in the NL. And my prediction is a New York Yankees, Cincinnati Reds World Series.
Interesting.
What? Why?
Because Reds are a little bit of a dark horse, and the
Why
Yankees
do you think the Yankees are going to be good?
Because they're on the ascending arc.
That doesn't mean they go straight to the World Series.
Have you ever watched the Yankees? There's a magic and charisma about them.
Listen, if the Tampa Bay Devil Rays every decade can make a run, then the Yankees in somewhat of a rebuilding time could make a run too.
Yeah. Yep.
What about the Reds? Do you like?
I think it's their time, and I don't like the Dodgers or Braves. Yeah, and I do love me some Pete Rose.
It's crazy you didn't mention the Braves. The Braves might be the best team.
So
they're in my top 4.
It feels emotional, not logical, your picks.
I think the Reds are logical enough that they're not that dark of a horse. They could do this.
The best team, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a fan of this team, the best team is the Dodgers, but that's been true for a while now, and that doesn't seem to matter.
Baseball, I watch your heart break every fall.
Yeah, it's really like, so I have no hopes or aspirations that they're going to win it all.
That's because the greatest pitcher potentially of all time becomes very average come September, October. That is the problem with the Dodgers. But I am confused on why you jumped straight to predictions and jumped right over our boy Ohtani and maybe some illicit behavior.
Yeah, this Otani thing is really interesting. Continues to gain steam, continues to have new information coming out. It seems as though maybe his interpreter didn't steal from him.
Yeah, it's a bit of a long shot because, $4 million will get a financial institution to raise a question or two.
It's frustrating, right? Like, if you want to send a wire for $20,000, it's like a code, a call, a second call,
Blood
a
sample.
verification. If you use your credit card and you've never bought that thing, it's like, hey, oh, decline. Like, what? Decline. Oh, and then you get a text message. Oh, you got to press yes that you want to, do this thing. And so it's curious that $4 million just vanishes.
What do we think? Like, what is the current leading theory as to what's going on there?
I don't know if there's a lead stalking horse there, but where there's smoke, there's fire. And
we think maybe Otani's placing bets overseas.
That's one theory for sure.
I mean, I'm
That's
not
so weird.
I guess though, if Otani is gambling, as long as it's not on baseball, is it really a problem, or is it you're not supposed to have a bookie? I don't have experience with bookies.
Even if it's on baseball, I don't care. Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
he should be. I mean, he should be in the Hall of Fame. But you can't bet on baseball while you're playing.
Yeah,
that's not ideal.
And then
what if you're
bookie
betting on yourself though, which is all Pete Rose supposedly, this is what he says, did. He said, I only ever bet on the Reds, and I was the manager of them, and I just believed in our team. But I mean, he has more hits than anyone ever in the history of the game.
Listen, I mean,
who cares? Get Barry Bonds in there too, the greatest baseball player ever.
Him, Reggie Bush, and Barry Bonds. Let's give Reggie back his Heisman, Barry in the Hall of Fame. Because here's the thing about Barry Bonds. I don't know. Maybe for all of the Hall of Famers that they haven't put in the Hall of Fame because of steroids, let's just cut their career down by 15%. Say, hey, you got a 15% advantage, and then let's look at your stats. And if you're still a Hall of Famer, we're putting you in.
Yeah.
Like, steroids don't make your hands faster. At least I don't think. And it's a shame Barry's not in my opinion.
Well, I have maybe an extreme view in that I don't care.
Your view is extreme.
That they were doing that. Although I would prefer that it was out in the open and everybody had the same opportunities. But why would we actually care?
I mean,
if someone is using the performance-enhancing drugs. Like, I'm drinking coffee right now. This is a performance-enhancing. Am I going to get drug tested? Like, there's people who take all sorts of things in business and all these types of things, and you don't get drug tested for them.
Well, Mark McGwire hit a ball into the 5th level of, like, the Toronto Sky Dome. And, yeah, it might not help with your hand-eye coordination, although some people claim it does. But if you can go 5 years longer because your sinews and your muscles react and do what you want instead of kind of taper down, it's a big advantage.
I think that people care because some were doing it, some weren't. So that's fair. Yeah, it is an advantage, right? But that said, the greatest year ever for baseball was the Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, chasing Roger Maris year. So. Like, not even close.
Late 90s.
That was so much fun. And then Barry comes along, was it the next year, and just blows that away to hit 73, I want to say.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that was must watch. I mean, when the world is stopping to watch an at bat, something amazing is happening. And by the way, wasn't his on base percentage that year something like 600 or something because he's walking?
It's absurd. Well, if you remember, there were some times where like he got walked every time. Like he was like guaranteed homer in the other team's minds. Like you got to walk him. Yeah. And back then, right now you can just say we want to walk this player. You don't have to throw the 4 pitches. Back then you had to throw the 4 pitches, and he would swing. Yeah. He's like, he's like, and he'd get it to a full count, and then the team is like in this interesting. Should we roll the dice? And then he'd jack it out of the park. It was so cool.
Yeah. Well, Sammy Sosa had the corked bat too.
Yeah. Yeah. Sammy Sosa, I haven't followed him closely, I think he's taken an interesting post-baseball route.
Well, you got to understand, like, both McGuire and Sosa, like, it seems like that really affected their lives.
Yeah.
To take that. And so that's kind of like, there are consequences that are not all good. In fact, maybe most not good.
Not good.
To taking these things. And so if you're willing to, like, I want to shave some years off my life and, all this type of stuff in order to be the greatest right now, it's hard for me to say, like, no, you shouldn't. Like, for me, the biggest scandal that's happened in the past 20, 30 years is the Astros and the Steele signing. And all we did was fire a couple managers.
Yeah.
That's way worse to me. That's like genuinely like cheating.
The other problem with the game right now is that a starting pitcher pitches 5 innings, and then we bring in a new pitcher every inning after that that's throwing 97. And before, the beauty of baseball was you see the same, your first time through the lineup, it's going to be kind of tough. But then you get to see him a second time and a third time, and that's where the art of hitting is. Like, all right, I've seen you. Now I'm just bringing in a flamethrower, and I'm facing a different person every single time. And I don't love that. I would rather them put some sort of, like, you can only have 4 pitchers in the game, period, type of thing.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, to hear like somebody like Yogi Berra or Joe DiMaggio or Ted Williams talk about that, right? Like, all right, he got me on that at bat. And then you watch the nuances, like especially Yogi Berra, he moves up in the box.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
If you really love the game, to watch these guys make adjustments on the fly. But if you are bringing in somebody for 4 pitches and they're going to throw it 102, all you can hope for there is like swing as hard as you can.
Yeah.
You don't have any read on them.
Totally.
Yeah.
By the way, why don't we ever talk about steroids in other sports?
Well, in the 80s and 90s, it was big in football, but it was wildly damaging to these poor guys.
Do we not think it's big right now? Like, we have a player in the NBA who is making a strong argument for being the greatest player ever, who has not slowed down whatsoever, is now all-time leading sport. And I'm not accusing him of anything, but how is this possible? How is this actually possible?
Well, they get tested like constantly, right? So I have no idea.
You think he literally is the NBA? You think he's getting tested?
Yeah. I don't think that the NBA has any upside in ever testing LeBron James.
Why would you? That would be the biggest scandal ever. It's like when they're like, Jordan, you have to retire for 2 years because you got a huge gambling problem.
Well, it's when do you want to clean up the mess? Because if weirdly in this example, if he is, it's going to come out at some point, right? And then you're going to have everyone that he played against is like, I could have got that.
By the way, he may not be. I want to, like, legally, let's be careful.
There you go.
Yeah.
He may not be doing this. And he probably isn't doing this. Let's say that. But we've never seen anything like this.
It's
defying all biology and physics that he's still like one of the top 10 players in the league.
Hey, I mean, if your job is to take care of your body and you're completely committed to that, and people say that LeBron spends $1 million per year, taking care of his body, and you couple that with the fact that he absolutely won the gene lottery.
He won.
Then I guess it's not totally unreasonable because there's only been one LeBron. There's only been one person to ever perform at this level at this age. And so no actual accusation of HGH. But the point is, if I'm the NBA, I'm never sending that test out.
Ever.
Yeah.
You would never send that test out.
It just continually disappears.
Yeah, you would never. By the way, they do get there are like these steroid scandals in the NBA, but it's always like a 10th man.
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, oh, it's just like this one dude. I'm like, I don't know. Everyone looks jacked.
I also always like the answer when it does come out that, I didn't know what it was. And I'm like, what adults just take pills without knowing what they are? That's not normal human behavior. And I think they need to figure out a better excuse.
Well, their favorite one is ointment, right? Like, I just rubbed that on my knee a little bit. And
yeah.
I don't know what it is. It looked, guess what? It was absorbed. Oh, look at your triceps. You're ripped.
By the way, like, who knows, again, like whether any of this is even happening. And my bigger point and more controversial point is, who cares? I don't care that he's doing it. I would just like to know that he's doing it. Like, if I had to like now call him the greatest player ever, which I still don't think he is, but
He's not.
man, a strong argument, right?
But we can't classify athletes as the greatest ever because of longevity. Like, I wanna like look at stats on, hey, let's take your best 7 years and also look at how your team did. But just because someone chooses to play a long time and therefore racks up a bunch of stats, and also you can't compare eras. They don't get to be adorned greatest ever.
Yeah.
Well, Jordan's prime is unbeatable so far. We've never seen anybody beat those numbers or that success or any of that. I agree with you entirely on that. And like, we don't call John Stockton the greatest point guard ever, even though he
had the greatest
has the
statistician
most
ever.
assists. He has most assists, most steals, but he's not the greatest point guard ever. Greatest point guard ever, in my opinion, Steph Curry. Oh my gosh, why do we never talk about Steph Curry in this conversation too?
He changed the game. I mean, Jordan changed the game. Steph changed the game. And the thing that's amazing about Steph is he's obviously physically gifted, but he's not that gifted. I think he can barely dunk. He's 6'3". Steph grew the game because he gives normal people hope that, oh, maybe I can do something great, in basketball too, because his gift is not his side-to-side speed, his ability to stop, his ability to jump or accelerate. His gift is he shoots 500 shots a day, and he's done that now for, I don't know, probably 20 years. And therefore he is the most skilled shooter ever.
And he is in phenomenal shape. Watch a Warriors game. All that dude does is run marathons.
Yes.
He's just running around trying to get open. They're setting tons of actions for him. That guy runs. He has to run more than anybody in the league.
Yeah.
And what a remarkable thing that he, seems to have lived a really clean and lovely life. Has a
By the way,
family,
same with LeBron.
Yeah.
By the way, I've been super. I don't want to bash LeBron. I want to be clear legally that I'm not accusing him.
You're really
You're
nervous
accusing
right now.
everyone. Every day, Clint's accusing everyone else of steroid use, so nothing new there.
I'm the one who doesn't care. I'm all for it.
I
Go
know.
ahead. Let's see how long you can go. Can you do another 20 years? That's awesome.
How fun would this be, though, if everyone had to eat the Garrett Clint diet of Krispy Kreme and McDonald's for a month and then watch what happens?
Yeah,
The game would slow down quite a bit.
I mean, he looks like a specimen. You guys look like specimens. It's
We didn't always
working.
look like this.
we are specimens for sure. Well, hey man. So is the idea with Aptive? You said you want to be a platform. I want to double click on that real quick. Are you thinking like, hey, I will sell this to other companies who do other door-to-door things, or are you thinking like, hey, we'll acquire other businesses where we can implement this platform that we've built?
Yeah. I mean, direct to home, door to door will always be a part of who we are. We also have a large digital presence, so inside sales, more traditional type marketing, and then the beauty of pest control is that we're a very fragmented space, and so there's tremendous opportunity to go and acquire businesses and grow that way. And so that's part of the fun of the future, is there are so many ways for us to grow and to partner and to use this platform that we've built to keep growing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Because I could see somebody coming to you, particularly like as I think about this year, it's campaign season, right? Like you have the perfect infrastructure to go knock on doors and get out the vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's in our future, but we would be a force.
Yeah, it'd be crazy.
If somebody slid a check for $10 billion across the table and said, "We want you to help get out the vote,"
We could put some flyers out for $10 billion.
For $10 billion. It's like,
Yeah.
all you need to do is print enough
I'll
flyers.
take some of that Truth Social money. Let's go.
That's really frustrating to me, by the way, that we were looking before. They have 1 million subscribers. I did 4 million services last year. 4 million. which is a tremendous number. We've added over 1 million customers, and we're a great business. But overnight, Mr. Trump gets to, double his net worth on a $3 million revenue business, and I just don't comprehend how that happens.
Price to sales ratio of 2,300. You can't short this stock unless you're suicidal because they've got the backing, and an $8 billion market cap. You either love him or hate him, but you got to respect that he can, from the ether.
That is, that whole thing is crazy.
It's some people are remarkable at building wealth, and he's one of those individuals.
Yeah, it's just like here's a reminder, everyone. Oh wait, what else am I doing? I'm running for president. Quick reminder.
Yeah.
Yeah, the True Social thing is actually crazy. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it or why it's worth all that. It's worth all that because it's him. It's just that. I mean, it's that simple.
The biggest brand in the United States is Donald Trump. So I guess that's why.
Yeah. But Aptive's hot on the heels.
Yeah, and we're close.
Aptive's at a close second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get ready for the get out the vote efforts, man. It's going to be awesome. Hey, thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Seriously, that was awesome. Who do we have tomorrow?
Jeremy Brockbank, founder and CEO of Volcanic Retail.
Jeremy Brockbank tomorrow. We will talk to everyone tomorrow.
Thanks, Vess.
Thank you.